it's Ian from RTL here. Welcome to the Sophomore Dome, and today we have got a bit of a different one again. This time we're looking at Jefferson Airplane versus Jefferson Starship. Basically the same band with one or two different members, but the main characters in this are the same. So the first to go today, of course, will be Jefferson Airplane and Surrealistic Pillow, which came out in 1967. It was, funny enough, the first album for Grace Slick and drummer Spencer Dryden. So playing on here, we've got Marty Balin on vocals and guitar, Jack Cassidy on bass guitar and fuzz bass and rhythm guitar, Spencer Dryden on the drums, Paul Cantor on rhythm guitars, vocals. We've got Jorma Kaukonen on lead guitar and lead vocals on a couple of the tracks, and of course Grace Slick on vocals, piano and recorder. So the first track on here is a little number called She Has Funny Cars. I think I love this one because I love the drums and guitars. They really groove, and you got Grace singing a brilliant song. Really strong track to open the album. Then we have the classic Somebody to Love. I just love this. It's just a great vocal from Grace. It's just got such a beat, some fantastic singing on that one. My Best Friend. This is very funky, groovy, so typical sort of sound of the time. I like the tune, it's very hooky. Then we get a track called Today. What I really like about this track is the vocal from Marty. It's an outstanding one, and you get lots of nice intricate guitar pieces on that one. Come Back to Me. The guitar work on this is brilliant from Marty, and it's so psychedelic. I just love that track. So that was the end of side one. Side two started with 3/5 of a Mile in 10 Seconds, a firm favourite, and it's heavy guitars, that great bass line from Jack, and I love the vocal between Marty and Grace on that. It's just terrific. DCBA25, it's just got a great bass line from Jack that really carries that song. It's very 60s and it's a super track. How Do You Feel? I think this has got some really nice harmonies on between Grace and Marty and Paul. I think this is brilliant. I just love it. Embryonic Journey, a very short track with some nice guitar. Jorma does a lot of the guitar work on this, and it is excellent. Now this is a track that only appears on the US, but it didn't get on the UK release, and it's White Rabbit, of course, another classic with that classic bass line from Jack, and one of the Grace Slick's finest moments in her career singing. It's just absolutely brilliant. And then the last track is Plastic Fantastic Lover, great bass line from Jack again. I love the track, the guitar work is amazing. Now, I love this album. It is my favourite album by Jefferson Airplane. It's just got some great musicians, great singers, and it was a vibe for the era, and that's why I love it. So what did the critiques think of it? There's not much been written about this, to be quite honest. The Cashbox wrote of the album that the LP could easily go all the way to the top of the chart and should be especially popular with the teen set. Robert Christgau of The Village Voice gave it a B+, although he critiqued the lyrics, claiming the sarcasm is as vapid as the optimism. In retrospect Bruce Eld of AllMusic gave the album a perfect score, calling it every song a perfectly cut diamond. He expressed his view that the album was a shot heard around the world and the group never released anything of the same quality. I think I do agree with him a little bit there. So what were the ratings? So AllMusic gave it the full 5 stars. The Absolute Sound gave it a 5-star. The Daily Vote gave it a A-. The Encyclopedia of Popular Music gave it a 5. Village Voice B. So how did it chart in 1967? When it got to number 14 in Finland, Norway 20, and number 3 on the Billboard. Didn't make an impact in the UK, but do not fear. It was certificated and it was released in 2003 in the UK, and it got a silver disc for it. It was we all had heard it before that, so that was good. And of course it got a platinum in America. So what are the nuts and bolts of this one? So song quality, Bruce Elders summed it up. Perfectly cut diamond songs. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Production. Okay, it's this is 1967. The production, if they'd have made the album now, the sound would have been even brilliant. But it was very good for the time. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. Reception. Stormed America. It was a big popular album, and then it had its surgence here in the UK in 2003. So I'm going to give that a 4 out of 5. Cover design, very 60s. I suppose Surrealistic Pillow could have been a bit more prominent, and Jefferson Airplane stuck on the banjo. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. So that gives us a grand total for Surrealistic Pillow of 14 out of 20. So let's move on. When Airplane split up, they regrouped and they called themselves Jefferson Starship. And their second album was released in 1975 and it was called Red Octopus. So from Airplane, you've got Marty Bailey, Grace Slick and Paul Cantor. Additional people now in the band are Craig Chakiko on lead guitar, Papa John Creech on electric violin, David Freeberg on the bass and backing vocals, and there's bass as well from Pete Sears, and the drums are by John Barbata. So the first track is called Fast Buckle Freddy, and I really like this track. I love Grace's vocals on it. It got some great little violin bits from Papa John. It's a solid opening. Miracles, which was a single in America. It's a nice song. I like the bass line. It's from Pete Sears. Solid track. Then we get an instrumental called Git Fiddler, written by Papa John Creech. It's a mixture of funk and disco and country. It sort of works. Then we have I Go Masu, which is There Is Love. It's a Grace Slick song and she sings it brilliantly, and I think this is the best song that she did with Jefferson Starship. Absolutely brilliant track. Sweeter Than Honey, a good little rocker this is. Got some nice guitar work and violin work on that one. Then we got Play on Love. I like the violin playing of Papa John on this. It's a great vocal from Grace as well. Tumbling comes next. It's one of the more sort of gentler tracks on here. It's got some lovely violin on it again. I Want to See Another World, second favourite track on here. It's really heavy guitar riff with a little bit of violin interplaying the track. Another instrumental called Sandalphon. Very proggy here. It's got a lot of Hammond organ and piano playing on it, which is quite nice. There Will Be Love. Lovely harmony singing on it. Some great guitar work. A great track to end the album. Okay, this is my favourite Jefferson Starship album. It really sounds like before the real transition. It was starting to appear on here. They were leaving the aeroplane sound behind. I do like Papa John Creech on here. His violin playing did give it an extra little thing. So it is probably why it's my favourite. So what did the critics think of this one? Okay, critic was it Ed Wolfe led off a review for the Rolling Stone, stating, "If it weren't for the Bailin, Red Octopus would be completely unlistenable." Before going on to the single out Miracles and There Will Be Love are the best tracks. Not in graphics, not only good for them, but downright good. While savaging the efforts of the other band's members, and over at the Village Voice, Robert Christgau claimed, "This is indeed their most significant album of the decade. But what does it signify?" Before bemusingly adding, "While the return of Marty Balin is the most soulful folky ever to set voice on plastic, he remains a mush brain," which is not a very nice thing to say. But then again, this man has got no taste. Cashbot was also favourable of it, calling it an album of strengths and concluding it was 8 musician arms to hold you. So the only people that with ratings I found were from All Music, who gave it a 4.5, and Chris Gale gave it a B-. How did it chart? Well, in Australia it got to number 69, in Canada it got to number 13, New Zealand number 15, but in America it got to number 1, and it went 2 times platinum. Didn't do much over here, didn't make a significant dent in the music charts. So let's have a look at the nuts and bolts of Red Octopus. Song quality. There's some good songs on here, but there are some not so good, as I say. Well, that's putting it a little bit too strong. They're not as good as the others on the other album, so I'm going to give that a 3. Production, it's fine production on this album, so I'm going to give that a 4. Reception went down a storm in America, number 1, double platinum. That's 2 million copies, so that's pretty good. So I should give that a 4 out of 5. So the cover design, it's very simple. It says what it does on the tin, but it's not much imagination went into that, did it? So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 5. So for the total for Jefferson Starship, Red Octopus is 14 out of 20. So we have a draw on points, but there is one clear favourite out of the two. I mean, I like both albums. They're both my favourite albums. So that it's got to be Surrealistic Pillow. I think it's one of the best albums of that period. It's one of the best psychedelic albums as well. So today's winner for me is Jefferson Airplane and Surrealistic Pillow. Okay, the poll is up in the posts. Obviously there isn't a live stream tonight, so this is the only poll, and we'll tell you the winners next week. Coming up next is a wander down the sidewalk. We'll look at the top 10 singles in America on this day in 1971. So bye for now.